Alright, what's happening? Let's go for another game. We're going to open with the Queen's Pawn. Whack open that centre for me, hopefully. I'd love to move the other one, but first I'm going to get the knight to defend that pawn right there. Want to get both bishops out. There, perhaps. Comes there. We got a knight and a bishop against that queen. So that's alright. Get that pawn in front. Get the other bishop out, hopefully castle up. And then we'll be good. What's he thinking now? But the knight needs to get out also. Maybe in front of the queen. I like to get these knights out fairly aggressively. Usually jumping straight over the pawns. There's no point really putting it here, since then we have these two squares where, you know, pawn is defending. So he puts pressure on this pawn here. I don't really want to take it, then the bishop goes there, so let's just make it simple. Guard the pawn, then we'll be okay. Now then. Right, increasing pressure with the knight. Pawn takes, knight takes, but still relatively safe there though. So this knight should, if it went there, no, I just need to get the knight out. I'd also like to get the bishop out, but if he goes forward, what if we just pin the knight to the king? This went over there. You can kick it out. You could just kick it out. If he moves 2 steps forward, then I can at least get the bishop over here. So I'm going to try that out. Let's see what happens. Don't really want to take that, to be fair. Because takes. At least it leaves him with an isolated pawn though. And something that resembles a double pawn over here. So it does cause some issues for him. So maybe if he tries to kick it out, could be good to go ahead and just take that. An isolated pawn over there. Because if he goes forward, backwards, 2 steps forward, backwards, this forwards, and my bishop is basically trapped. Yeah, that's dangerous right there. Forward, backwards, 2 steps. Trying to think. There. And there's nowhere else to really escape then. Which would be a tremendous shame. So let's not do that. Now he's increased the pressure with his own bishop. Bishop also guards this pawn here. But I am going to get aggressive. I'm going to get aggressive and jump the knight in here. But there's a problem with that. That idea doesn't really work, because if I go there, knight takes, bishop takes my bishop. So that would cause problems for me actually. It would probably just blunder my bishop. So we can't do that. It looks like a nice move, but I can't do that. Knight here is appealing to me. We'll leap over there. He goes... This knight is... His knight is relatively blocked, I think. We go there. There's not that much after that. So we leap here. And we try to start looking for a pawn break. I think that's the idea here. I'm just going to get that developed, get it out into the fight. Now let's see what happens. It also backs up that bishop. Because if the knight jumps here, takes the pawn, then it leaves the bishop vulnerable. Because then the bishop could jump in and take it. So that's actually a pretty good defense strategy right there. Next thing I want to do is also block off his knight, this side. And then we'll be fine. Okay. I can see all the possibilities here. And now I'm also tempted for this knight move from here to here. Because if knight takes, I take with bishop. Bishop takes, I take with knight. Knight's on a good square, bishop's on a good square. I have a advantage in the momentum. So I think that's a pretty good plan. I think we can work with that. So let's see what his next action here is. So he's going to take. He's just going to open up the position a bit. Take that one. Now, pawn takes, or queen takes, or knight takes. Which one best develops my pieces? Well, the queen can't take because then the knight takes the queen. And I'd like to leave that pawn there because I don't really want to block this center file. I want to keep it open. So, I don't know if this is right, but I'm going to go here with the knight. That also attacks the knight over there. We have a nice double attack on him right there. So I'm going to do that. Guards the bishop a little bit also. It's already got one defender, but another one never hurts, does it? So we're pushing forward. We're trying to find more weaknesses in the opponent's defense here. I'm just thinking where the knights could start thinking about jumping to next. He could now kick my bishop out with this square here. Because the knight's not there to back it up anymore against the queen on this square. Now his bishop, of course, is very eager to move. And now did he manage to just fork? No, but that's okay, because even though he's threatening the fork right now, obviously I can't take, because then the knight takes. Right, here, let's think this through. If I take, knight takes, bishop takes, queen takes, no, that's not going to work. But, if I jump over here, onto the knight, pawn takes, then I'm still in a mess. I'm still in a bit of trouble. with that. Let's think it. Bishop takes knight. Pawn takes. Bishop takes. That pawn is weak. This pawn is weak. Positionally, still holds fairly strong for me. And this one, I like that it threatens the queen. So I'm just going to go over there. Obviously, he has to take it, otherwise the queen gets destroyed. So he's taken that, and now both of my bishops are under attack. I can't go there, the queen would just take that. But that square there I quite like. So we can take that. And I want to just leave him to take that, because... Although then again, if I took that, we still get the isolated pawn. If I let him take it back... If I let him take that, I can just take it with the... Oh no, I can't take it with the knight. Can't take it with the knight. So I'm actually inclined to do that. There. Bishop retakes. Bishop retakes. That takes. Pawn is weakened here. Will that work? Takes, takes, takes. Guarded. Two defenders. Then again, I like this more. I like this more because I don't want this bishop here. The bishop right now is on a weak square. And I prefer it to be there, actually. At least I think I do. Because it's also blocking the queen. If I take that, the queen is open, and the bishop is on a very strong square. So, I think I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And we can work with that, more or less. Alright, that goes there. Now we can start getting a bit more aggressive here. We can get the queen right here into the battle. Yeah, we can get the queen right in there. Take that. Like so. Now if we castle, we can also get the rook behind it. And then that bishop here, 7d, would be pinned. We're also attacking that pawn right there. So that's advantageous to me also. Let's see what he does with that. There's a few good moves he could still play here, I guess. But if pawn moves, I can move knight here, can move it here, start to really put some pressure on the king. Also want to get castled here. Castling is a priority now because we already passed about 10 moves. So I should really get my king slightly protected and get the rooks out. Well, let's just see. If he moves this pawn here, he kicks out the bishop. Bishop can, of course, move backwards. Just take it back, because I like it on this file here. So, good place to keep the bishop. And then, what we could also do is castle, rook here, and I can get it here, attack the king with a pin against the queen. Which won't really work because his rook can just retake. Maybe overthinking it a little bit now. Knight here is also a move that he might be thinking. He probably is thinking. But queen can always just go back from there also. Let's see what he comes up with. He knows it's an important move, so he has to really focus on this now. What will be his defense against my incoming attack? But no, this is a good one here. Right. Queen here, bishop here, discovered check. Oh, but then the queen can just guard it. Yeah, that won't really work either, will it? So what's the idea behind that move? He's targeting my 2c pawn. He thinks it's clever, targeting the 2c pawn. But I think he's left himself quite vulnerable. Because, here's the thing. If my... Look. Wait. Takes. There. Guards. So, I'm thinking queen takes with check. Queen can guard. What happens after that? Takes, queen guards, and it could... right. I'm just coming up with a genius plan right now. Takes, queen guards, then queen takes here, king on 7d, castles, discover check with castle, and maybe the knight can then do something? I'm thinking this is a really good idea. Because there's no other way to protect the queen, and then he can't castle either. Alright, so I've got a brilliant idea. The queen will take the pawn, check on the king. The queen guards, then I castle, bringing my rook here, check on the king. If king decides to move, my horse here, my knight, can jump in and join the attack. So I'm going to try that out. There we go. Let's see what he does now. Watch this. My plan is in action. And it's a really good plan. There's no way this fails. I think I've got him now for real. Watch, he's thinking now. The only option really is to guard here. And I will get his queen. I will trade off my own queen, but then he loses the ability to castle. Yeah. Now this is a good one. Right, see what he does. Lose the castling rights. You on? What's your move, mister? Let's see what you got. So he's guarded with the bishop instead. I had a really good plan, but he's managed to foil it in that sense. So what's the new plan? What's the strategy here? How can we attack this position? We really need to bring in rooks here. I think that's the only way it's going to work. So I've got to get my queen out of danger. Or is there a counter-attack somewhere here? Some surprise move? No, there isn't really, is there? At least I can't see any. I think it's gonna have to be... I think it's gonna have to be the... Could it be... something? No. So where are we gonna move this? If I move it here, there's always the possibility of bishop attack. And I don't like the bishop attack right over there. So... maybe just back here. Like so. I think this is an alright place to move it. Could be here also. I really like targeting that square over there. But there's no way for me to back up the attack, really. So I'm just going to get it back there for the moment. Now the bishop can't threaten it, as the good old knight can take it if the bishop jumps back in. Right, he's up for causing a nuisance here with the good old pawn kick. And I'm almost ready to just trade this off. Because if I go here, bishop takes, queen takes, and I can get my knight in. I can get my knight into the game and really cause some headaches right there. Because queen is there, knight is there. This square becomes pretty weak. So I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to go there. I'm going to offer trade of my queen. Right, is he now gonna... Because if I take that, then obviously he has to take with the king, which would be a nice trade for me also, because then he can't castle anymore. The only danger here is that if he plays... Okay, he didn't do that. Okay, we're fine. We're fine. And we continue as usual. We're all good. Now, knights might start maneuvering around here, doing some dodgy stuff. But right now, since my pawn advantage is so powerful, I'm thinking we really could start just trading these things off for the most part. Because I'm going to get past pawn easier than him, right? So he wants to go knight here, obviously. We know that's what he wants to do. Right. But if knight goes there, I can just move the queen there also. And that will leave his bishop x-rayed or pinned along with the queen against my rook. Because obviously I want to get this rook onto an open file. I'm going to do that. I'm not going to worry about it right now. Just going to go there. And I imagine the move is over here. I'm thinking that's what he's going to do. Could be with knight. Or could be with bishop also. Knight is more likely because then of course he's going to threaten the queen right here. If I get... I would actually like him to come here with the bishop though, because then I can get knight over here, and eventually over here to fork the king and the rook. Which would be a really, really good move. If the knight jumps over there, we just have to move the queen aside. But if the queen moves here, then we obviously are threatening that knight. And we can get the rooks doubled up against the queen. Knight there. Yeah, this is a really good plan right now. I can see exactly how this works. So let's just see what he plans on doing. Bishop goes there. Bishop goes there. Then what was... Oh yeah, if bishop goes there, I can start moving the horse forward. If knight goes there, queen back, and bishop is pinned, basically. Thinking this could work pretty well. Quite confident in this plan. Now my rook I would love to have on here, on d2 to double the rooks, and then we can go for a real attack right down the barrel. Attack on his king and his rooks and everything like that. That'd be really cool. He might just castle right now also. That could be something he's thinking of doing. To get the other rook in, it's possible. What is he planning? Trying to think now. What is the idea he's trying to hatch? Because he's definitely plotting something here. Right, so as I anticipated, the knight jumped over there. Right, I've got a brilliant idea. Since he's attacking my queen right now, obviously my queen will move over here, attacking the knight. I'm going to move over here, which will put danger onto the knight. That leaves my rook targeting this bishop and queen. And if I can get the bishop out of the way in some way, like with the knight, the queen is vulnerable. And if the queen is vulnerable and falls, I'm winning this game. So, let's get the queen over here. Then let's start a night dance. So doubled up rooks would be brilliant against that bishop right there. So I could get the bishop and the queen. And since the knight is also vulnerable right now, then the queen is targeting that as long as this bishop goes. So I really need to get these rooks doubled now. We can't delay much longer with this. Good that the queen is out of the way from my side. Right. He's castled, which gives me one move now. The idea is, if I go here, right, if I go here, then what happens? He can't move the bishop, he can't move the bishop. Because if he moves the bishop, I take the queen. Then it's basically over for him. But if I get them doubled up, yeah, if I get the two rooks doubled up, or even get that rook there, although if I get the rook there, the knight can always jump over there, which causes me more trouble. So I need to get it on this guy here. I guess I need to get it there, because here I'm in trouble. Again. Here I'm in trouble. I can't... if I go there... there... No, this is a conservative move, fairly. But I think it can work, because I do not like that idea that I go there and knight goes down, I just have to move back again. Puts me in a lot of danger, so I think this is the move. I think we just need to double it up. Get the other rook, and start really putting pressure here on the bishop and the queen. And I need to get this knight in also, because right now queen is fairly active and threatening that knight. And rooks will become active when I double them, but the knight is still very weak. I can't get it on here because I don't want it on the open file. I want it here somewhere. But why do I want it there? I mean, if I could get it there, what good does that do me though? Really, I want to just trade these things off. Really just want to get things doubled up. Now, if the rook moves there and tries to guard, that also causes me some problems. But if I can get the knight there, then the knight trades off with my queen. A triple attack on... No, that won't work because the rook would just take my queen. That doesn't work. Tell you what, let's get them doubled up and then we'll think of a plan. Because it's too hard for me to see all these things ahead right now. Time's getting fairly short now. I've only about 10 minutes each. Been a fairly long game. But I hold the advantage with my rooks being developed properly. Remember, if this rook goes over here, I still have my... Okay, so he plans to defend with this one. Okay. I was almost thinking if I had a bishop, it would be pretty easy. Alright, let's double it up as I planned. He's probably going to defend by going on the 7th rank here. Oh! That's a very strange move. But I see the point of it. The point is he's trying to just checkmate me right here. Yeah? Queen goes there. Well, it wouldn't be checkmate, but it would be very annoying. Obviously, we cannot let that happen. Now, if I do block this, he's targeting that pawn there, but it's defended by several defenders, so we should be okay. So I think the easy thing is to just pawn forward, and we should be alright. The knight is undefended, but... Oh, well, the rook defends itself, so we should be alright. Right. His bishop is under attack, 2 attackers, and he does not have the defender, so he really wants to get it out of the way. He needs to get that bishop out of the way. Look at that rook there. It's defended by queen and rook, isn't it? Need to get my knight somewhere better. I really do. Because otherwise it's just sitting here in a kind of a passive spot. It's not really gonna work. It's not really gonna do anything useful. Yeah, there he goes. So that's actually a pretty clever move from him, but he's planning maybe to... That wouldn't work though, because he'd have to sacrifice the queen and the bishop. And that would not be worth it, even if he does manage to get something. So I think my priority right now is to just get this knight off here. To get it somewhere. And he's targeting this, targeting that. Oh wait, now I see what he wants. If he goes there, pawn takes, basically checkmate. But if bishop goes there, I can also just take with the queen. Now another idea is just pawn here to get the knight out. What if we did that? I don't know where that would lead really. But what I'm really looking for right now is just... We jump that knight forward. Well, what's the point of putting it here? Maybe takes, I retake, rooks forward. Don't really see much of an advantage. I'd love to trade off the knight. So if I go here, that feels like it would be giving me something. Knight could go there, and Tell you what, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do it like that. We're gonna get the knight over there, and we're gonna start causing a bit of trouble for him here. So my knight is now gonna go on the d6 file. And remember, his bishop still needs to be here to guard this knight. He doesn't want to blunder it. And this also gives me the opportunity... No, it doesn't, because I can't go the rook here. Knight will take it. But to get the rook here would be... It'd be really good for me. Which is why I want to reroute the knight over here. I think by that way, I can really win the game. Alright, so now I think you just blundered. You've got the rook here. Does he plan the... Wait, I think the idea is... He plans to go here. Then I would take, and then the surprise checkmate comes right there. But if he goes there, then my knight can jump down and take it. Will that work though? Because if his knight takes... Right, knight... Here's the plan, The knight jumps there. His knight takes. Rook takes, or queen takes. Rook goes there. Queen takes. Bishop takes. No, my queen would take his queen. Okay, tell you what. I'm gonna do it. So here's the plan. I've got a brilliant idea. Knight jumps over here. The rook is in danger. He'll probably take with the knight, and I retake with the queen. His queen will retake. My rook goes to the center, and I've got doubled rooks here, threatening his bishop also, and can start to push the pawns over here. I'm pretty sure this is going to work. I'm going to try it out. I'm going to go there. And let's hope for the best. Right, he has taken. This is good. Because I'm going to offer a queen trade right here. Or should I just take with the rook? Maybe it's best to take with the rook, actually. Rook takes. And obviously he's not going to take with the queen. But I still think since time's running out, I need to go ahead and do this now. Yeah, I'm gonna offer the queen trade here. Trade, takes, and then right, bishop's under attack. Queen's under attack, so he needs to get away from it. Alright, so we want to trade queens, get the rook on this file here. Then I'm really dominating. Get a rook over here also. At one point I can threaten this pawn. Get maybe the other rook also on the 7th rank. and then he's in real trouble. If he lets me take the queen here, retakes with pawn or rook, then the rooks are no longer connected, which is a problem for him. So let's see where this goes. Right. So he's decided to defend, to offer a queen trade here, but he's just blundered the bishop, because once I take the bishop, then he has check, and after that, I'm fine. So let's just take the bishop. I'm not sure what he was thinking right there. Once that's done, I can just move it back to the 6d square and offer the queen trade. Only danger is, of course, the potential checkmate on this square right here. So we just need to make sure we're good with that. But here's the thing. If I go... Right, here's the thing. If I go queen here onto d6, there'll be a check on the king, and he has to trade the queens. So I'm going to do that. Queen will take, my rook will take. Watch this, watch this. I'm perfectly happy to trade queens here, because I've got a material advantage, and my rooks are doubled with a positional advantage also, so I'm fine here. I think I am, at least. So what's he going to do? He could move it out of the way, then I just need to manually trade queens. Then he retakes with the rook, and I'm actually happy to trade off those rooks if I get the rook also on the 7th file right here. If I go here, he just moves back, so I'm just going to go ahead and trade those off. Now then, really the only thing here left to do is just to start advancing now. Yeah, I'm just going to go forward now. Pawns forward, king forward. Let's just go. We need to start getting the king into the fight also. So king advances along with these pawns, and we should be ready to start pushing into this corner, causing him some troubles. Right now that pawn is guarded by the rook, but I'd rather get the king up here also, just to protect from those potential rook threat here on this pawn if I want to push this one forward. There's a little bit of danger. He's not got much time left to think. He's only got about 3 minutes. You got to make your moves in time. Let's see. 3 minutes left for him. Right, he pushes the pawn forward. Of course he does. With that, no problem. Gonna get my king in. If he goes there, I won't take, because that doubles my own pawns. I can just wait for him to take and then just take back. So, would be fine. Alright. Takes. Yeah, let's go up here. That pawn is also defending, so we'll be fine. Two minutes left. He needs to think fast now. What is his last hope here? Okay, so he takes that. I take that. He's probably going to try and get the rook over here, but I can double my rooks up here, and then he's gonna be... that's not a problem, because I can just move the king down here. That will defend the pawn along with the rook, so... not a problem. Alright, we're advancing the pawns forward. A pawn storm, I suppose. The only annoying thing is I can't really move the rook. As soon as I move it, it comes there with check. That's a bit of a problem for me. So what can we do here? Because the king is also a little bit trapped. I need to get this pawn forward, so I could get two rooks here, potentially. Maybe that pawn there? I think that's the idea right now. I'm just going to get that one forward there, and we should be okay. Right, he's blitzing forwards. If we go there, he takes, and we are, I would say, relatively safe right there. Right, there it goes. Takes and takes. That locks up the position a bit, but is what it is. So he's put it there. I wish I could move the rook over there. I guess the idea is to put it here. And get this... What's the idea, though? I'm just going to go there. Just going to go there for now. I'm going to get this rook up here. Like, repositioning the rooks a little bit. And threaten that pawn there. Really need to get something going here. I'm not sure what the point of that was. But for now, I'm just going to go over here. Just going to push forward a bit, you know. Yeah, right over there. I think what he means to do is go here. Yeah, like that. But now, I don't need the two defenders anymore. So I can move this back and go there. Now he wants to attack that pawn. He's very, very attack focused here, isn't he? He won't give up. No, he says. I'm not giving you this battle. So I guess I've got to go over here. Suppose that's the move. Yeah, I'm gonna guard that from the behind. Now he's attacking those two again. Oh, bugger. He's really aggressive. So let's go over here again. Alright, reroute those rooks. Now if we can get them doubled up again, we are defending everything. So, there it goes. I can potentially make another threat over there. What if I move this pawn forward? Let's start moving this pawn forward. I like to have the rooks doubled up, so I'm going to go with that right now. That idea works for me. So he's going over there again. There, takes. That doesn't really work, so just going to have to start moving forward, I guess. Because he seems to be in kind of a panic mode right now. Just moving around a lot. But what I can do is get the king slightly forward and start pushing that pawn forward. Now he doesn't want that to happen, does he? So he's put that on guard instead. But what we can do then, yet again, just move over here. Oh no! I gave up that pawn there. Yeah, I just gave up that pawn. That's very bad. This is a very tight game now. I guess I'm going over here. Really the only chance. Alright, we trade off rooks, that's fine with me. I made a bit of a blunder there at the end. But I'm fine to trade off that, if you want. Alright, now he's going for that pawn. But I, of course, am going to guard that one down there. I'm going to start pushing forward full force. If he takes that, I retake. Takes that. Might create some problems for me. But for now, as long as I keep pushing this. Now I want to take that. Move forward. Forward again. King. What is the strat he's planning here? What is his strategy plan? I think he's going to run out of time though. Well, I won on time. 30 seconds for me, 0 for him. My endgames I still need to practice a bit because that still wasn't quite the ending that I hoped. I probably would have lost, well I would have lost otherwise. Alright, cheers.